Hello. It's Adapt Crypto. This is a live stream on the YouTube. Hello. How's it going, everybody? It's really good to be here. How's it going, Bender?
Greetings, everyone. It's going so well. Thank you for asking. How are you, sir?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. It's it's an intense life. I think. I just for everybody at this moment in time in the world, but I'm surviving. I'm surviving, and I think it's just a good time to already be in crypto and not be Paris Hilton. No offense to Paris
You're
Hilton.
correct in one
No
way.
offense to Paris Hilton, but
She's getting on boards with that to, I wouldn't say get her own financial freedom. I think she's waiting for it for a good bit,
yeah.
but she's riding the train to we'll call it generational wealth. She's like halfway there.
Yeah, just about. Yeah, with that name, I think she's doing okay. But for the rest of us that maybe weren't born into obscene amounts of money, um, yeah, something like crypto is very attractive, and they tell this story all the time. Oh, you're gonna make 100x gains. You can do this, guys. And then you get in there and you get absolutely wrecked because everybody is just dumping on you, the bots and the degens, and it turns out to be a lot more difficult than you would initially think just watching a couple of YouTube videos. But I guess the point of this video is to tell you that it is not impossible. It is just very difficult. And
Not possible by any stretch of the imagination. It does require a lot of work and some realistic goals and I don't want to say can-do mindset, but if you go into it thinking that it's not possible, it's going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. You got to believe in the goal, you got to believe in yourself, and you have to commit. And I guess without going any further into these super inspirational, motivational isms, I would like to just start off by saying that I'm going to tell a little bit of my own personal story because financial freedom is something that has been kind of on the outskirts of my imagination for the longest time. And I'm not going to say I'm 100% there to financial freedom, but I think that this journey, my little foray back into cryptocurrency, back into the world of blockchain, has really opened my eyes and
exactly. Oh, well, it sounds like we're having a little bit of low volume. Just tell me, Sean. It's great to have you guys, by the way. I'm getting pretty high levels on myself, um, but it sounds like yeah, Bender, you're just a tiny bit low. Is there? Yeah, well, that's the thing about audio. It's sort of like crypto. You think you can be an audio engineer if you watch a YouTube video, and you may you may actually do this for a while, but yeah, I think it might just be the mix. So I might actually turn myself down just a tiny bit, and well, that's the thing about a Zoom call. Um, Yeah, no, we do apologize, guys. It has been a minute since we've done a live stream. We are sort of restructuring our ways. Yeah, I've actually turned myself down quite a significant amount, so maybe you guys could just turn it up, and I think we're at a more equal level. Um, just know that this will be worth it because, I mean, financial freedom. Financial freedom is worth a couple audio troubles, I would say. Hmm. Um, now I'm getting a lot less from you. Strange, very strange. Mm. Are you guys hearing any difference?
Thanks, David. That helps. I appreciate it.
It's like a router. Wait, go one more time for me. Go one more time for me.
Hello, hello,
I feel
hello,
like that's a major difference here on my end. Um, so
hello,
that's
hello.
the nature of.
1, 2, 3 cryptocurrency. 1, 2, 3 Bitcoin to
Yeah.
the moon.
Okay, we got it. We got it.
We good?
Anyways.
Hey! There it is. What's up, guys? You know what? It's actually been a long time since we've done one of these, and I don't remember if I got this mic before we did the last stream. Oh, now you need to turn yourself up,
All right.
Marshall.
All right.
The people want to hear you. The people want to hear you.
But this is actually a great example of how Adapt really works because the people in the chat are extremely important members, at least at this time, of Adapt, and that's how we do Adapt. We adapt. We take information not just from the admins. It's not like a lot of other sort of groups out there where it's just, we know what's up and we're gonna give you the signals and how to do the crypto. It's actually a very collaborative system, and I am constantly getting extremely interesting information personally from the Telegram. I don't know about you, Bender, but that's just something
Oh
I
yeah,
love about
always.
Adapt.
Adapting. Yep. We had like a little Elio trades shout out, low key, maybe intentional, maybe not intentional, in his recent video talking about adapting to stuff.
Yeah.
Slightly down me. I'll just talk a little bit softer. How's that? I hope that helps. He's an audio. Okay. All right.
Anyways,
Cool.
yeah.
I hope everything is running well. We're going to go ahead and just run on with things. Looks like we are getting into a little bit of extra support, and because we're clueless. So we'll go ahead and just jump right into things.
Yeah, let's
Thank
check
you.
it
Thank you
out.
so much for the background support. Shout out. Shout out. But yeah, just a quick little story. About 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks and 1 day ago, I put in my 2 weeks notice, and that was kind of a long time coming. I know a lot of you guys have probably been hearing about economic like collapse, downturn, and then what will happen when
Where?
eventually everything starts. Yeah, where? Who's talking about that? Everything's great. There's no problem in.
This is fine. Yeah, we really are in that meme with the fire dog. If you know what I'm talking about.
I'm sure people do. Most popular meme ever. Yeah, like as things start to turn back around, as the economy starts to recover, there are I don't want to call it like a slingshot. We'll call it like a rubber band effect, where once things start to bounce back a little bit and infrastructure to support all the businesses, local businesses kind of scale back because they've toned down to cut down on expenses, and then demand starts to rise back up as the economy recovers a little bit. You get this huge slingshot forward where demand is way, way higher than what infrastructure can support across your local businesses. I mean, if you go to the unemployment office, if you go to like your local grocery store or anything in entertainment, restaurants, all these local businesses, hotels, everything like that, you'll probably notice if you're paying a little bit of attention that everyone seems to be scrambling, just kind of like a constant scramble to keep up with all the demand from all the customers that are starting to use all these services again. And if you're not in one of those retail or customer facing positions or the logistics behind those customer facing positions, you may not notice how absolutely bonkers insane it has been in these most recent times where the economies are starting to bounce back a little bit. So that puts a huge strain on everyone that's in the workforce, all the essential work positions where there's so much to do and just not enough people to do it because COVID happened and everyone had to cut down on expenses and personnel was the first to go. So past few months for me personally have been an absolute bleep show. You guys know what I'm saying. It's been a bleep show. All right, guys. So I don't know.
Yeah,
It started COVID times.
It's
Go ahead.
it's a trip. It's I mean, the economy has completely restructured itself. But the thing about the economy and people is that people are often a lot slower to react to things, and especially businesses. And it really depends on what sort of business you're in. But a lot of people are still in complete denial about this economic restructuring. They really want to just keep going in their old traditional ways, especially if the business is being run sort of by an older generation person, which is, I would say, most businesses. And they really just sort of are waiting for it to go back to how it was before the tough times. And I gotta break it to you, that's not really in the cards. It's not going in that direction. As far as I can tell, I'm not an economist, but I think if you are aware of just reality, that you can see that that's just not how things are going. And so certain businesses are, like you're saying, completely slammed and overtaxed, and other businesses, their market's not coming back, and they're just sitting there sort of in their shop window waiting for people to return. It depends on the sector you're in, but there's some really tough times, and then there's also sort of a boom in business for people that are in the right sector, and and then they're also having trouble, like you're saying, just adapting.
Yeah, I mean, it's two sides of a very unfortunate coin. You have the people that are overtaxed and overworked with not enough resources, and then you have the people that are waiting out in the field of dreams, saying, "Okay, we built it. People are supposed to come. Where are all the people?" So they're waiting on government subsidies and all these tax breaks, whatever else, essentially just stimulus to flood in and help keep them alive. You have all these ghost businesses that they can't maintain a storefront. And I mean, kind of getting into cryptocurrency and actually starting to pay attention to world economy, politics, political things, just different markets and how they've all been affected by COVID situations and just general world happenings. Getting into crypto put all that stuff into the forefront of my mind. It's like, okay, back last April, last March, last May, there started things that, I started to pay attention to. I never really cared about those things before because they weren't important to me. They didn't have a lot of interest to me. And as you watch this whole thing unfold over the past 9, 10, 11, one whole year's time go by, you're like, oh man, this has been inevitable. It's like Thanos. I'm inevitable. It's going to happen. And at what point do you realize, okay, you need to have a backup plan. You need to cultivate other options, because when bleep hits the fan, you guys know what I'm saying here. You can't be stuck in front of the fan, otherwise you're going to get covered in bleep. And it's no fun for anyone standing on either side of that fan. So my backup option has been cryptocurrency. All right?
Yeah, no, there is a place away from the fan, basically. And I think a lot of people, a lot of smarter people, realized this way before Paris Hilton was tweeting about it. It's not just the economy. A big chunk of the financial system is going to have to restructure, and just like the humans, it is lagging behind in sort of an insane way that makes me think, what is actually reality? But I still sort of believe in all the research and sort of understanding that we've gained over the past couple months and years. Nobody knows when that's going to happen, but all this talk about CBDCs and just Gary Gensler and the SEC, so many aspects of the news, we don't need to go through all of them right now, point to a sort of switch at some point in the future. I'm not saying exactly when that's going to happen, but some sort of switch to a more digitized system, which will be good for everything from vaccine passports to global commerce and all these other things that really seem to be on the horizon in the very near future. And so if you also see these sort of things in the tea leaves, then you're obviously hearing crypto. I mean, it's sort of a feedback loop, at least for me. I don't know. You gotta speak for yourself, Bender. But like, I got more intensely into crypto, realizing some of these things, and then studying so much about crypto and the economy and everything made me double down and triple down and quadruple down, because it's like, oh, well, this is obviously where it's at and where it's going to be at for the coming decades. So
we are seeing a huge shift in the markets, in economic policy, in just kind of global happenings, how people transact, how people interact with each other. Everyone's moving to digital spaces. That's why Zoom immediately blew up, even though what is it called? Skype has been a thing for decades now. But more on that later. We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, no, we don't need to stay up Zoom. But it's fun. One of the funniest aspects of this whole event is that like all these other voice chat things were available, and they gave the crown to Zoom. Thank you, Zoom. By the way, we are currently using you.
Not a promotion. We're not paid. I'm sorry for that. But yeah, Zoom works. It's good. Cool beans. But yeah, so I wanted to kind of talk about how do I put it aptly? If you guys are in this generation, my generation, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm 30 years old, and I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z. And one of the biggest memes that started popping up around the start of COVID quarantining last year, like end of March, middle of April of last year, was, what are you going to do with your essentially your time in the hyperbolic time chamber? This whole self-quarantining time, I saw a million internet memes of people popping into the hyperbolic time chamber and then coming out just like jacked as hell, super buff, people learning how to do things, picking up different skills and trades. And my hyperbolic time chamber, I dove straight down the rabbit hole into cryptocurrency and financial planning, because before COVID, I was making a living. I was doing my job so I could get to the next day, keep paying my bills, stay alive, essentially, keep everything afloat. I was probably about $15,000 in credit card debt, about $10K in student loans, and my car, I had just paid an arm and a leg for it. It was just paid off. So all in total, about $25,000 in debt. And without a job, without continuing to work at my crappy day job, if I did lose that job, then, I'm 25K in the hole, and without any prospects in a down market, it's not a good time. So you got to find and cultivate other options. So dove deep into the rabbit hole. My brother told me about cryptocurrency again, because that's been something I had been kind of peripherally involved in for the past, give or take, 8 years. But, from 2017 to 2020, mid-20s, then, took a look back into it, and I was like, holy crap, this is the way. I'm going Mandalorian on you guys. I'm going to be popping memes on you all day long. But this is the way. It's my ticket to financial freedom.
Fine. Yeah, no, I got to admit, that my story is very similar, actually. Carrying debt, working, obviously, but really just taking the money that I would earn and spending it on nonsense, stuff, whatever I wanted in the moment. and the credit card could just sort of wait until next month. And as soon as you start to do a little bit of trading and you're like, wow, I could have made $30 more there, or I could have made $100 more there. Then you start to think about those things in your real life. Well, like, why did I spend that $100 on that thing? Maybe I could have actually put that in Bitcoin or something else. And that really, it really also just, it triggers sort of a shift in mindset about what actually your money is, and the power of it. Because when you really can turn $100 into $1,000 or $10,000 with the right moves in crypto, you realize, well, maybe I shouldn't spend that $100 on some trash nonsense that is I don't know, not going to be $100,000 later.
Right. Maybe not unless, you really, really want it.
Right.
You gotta
No, it makes you double check all of your priorities and your decisions a little bit, which I think is a good thing.
Yep, for sure. And something it's amazing when you actually start budgeting and you start looking, paying attention to what you're spending your money on. I mean, like you can spend easily like $3,000 just in food and groceries in a month, and you wouldn't even notice it. It's like, oh yeah, am I fed? Am I happy? Do I still have money in the bank account? Yeah, okay, cool. But you've spent more than half your income on non-essentials, and that's money that could be put to use somewhere else. That's money that you could be saving for your eventual retirement. That's money that you can be using to pay off your debt. That's money that would be better served in other areas. And those are things that people don't really pay attention to when there's not a need for it. For example, my 15K in credit card debt last year, I was doing the dumb thing of just paying the minimums every single month, and that keeps the creditors off your back. But if you are only paying the minimums on your credit cards and you have a high, a high APY or whatever credit card, high interest credit card, I mean, you're paying like 20 to 25% of that total balance per year, and that adds up really fast. If you're paying the minimums every single month and you have like $15,000 to $25,000 in debt, by the time you've paid all those off in $15,000, it'll be about 30 years down the line before you paid off all of your $15,000 in debt, which means you're going to end up paying about $60,000. This is rough math, guys. I did the math at a certain point, but it's like $60,000 in actual money that you spend just covering those minimums every single month, and it's insane.
Oh, it's obscene.
Money is wasted. Yeah,
it's obscene.
It's insane.
And especially, I mean, because most people don't read the fine print; they're just trying to live their lives, sort of like we were before. And what the credit card companies don't tell you, even if Amex and some of these other guys do start at like a 20% to 30% rate. But even your other sort of, Bank of America credit cards, what they don't tell you is that if you miss just one payment, your rate will be increased to that like 20 to 30% rate for 2 years or more. And they're not going to tell you or warn you about that or anything. But it just takes one missed payment for you to get locked into just an absolutely obscene rate that you didn't sign up for when you got that credit card. And so that's really just all the more sort of pressure to pay that off faster. And I don't know, guys. I know there's a lot of people out there sort of dealing with this issue with the credit card debt, and that there isn't a more true statement that could be made. You gotta try to pay it off faster, the best you can. And crypto really also just sort of helps you realize that as you may be getting into some yield farming, some other things, you may be seeing it going the opposite way. Well, what if I got this much APY on my scam coin farm? But yeah.
And the point is, even if all you want to do is free up more money to put into crypto, you have to find where you can cut things out of your budget to do that. And those are things that I was looking to do. Now, just to start off, usual disclaimer, none of this is financial advice, and I don't recommend that any of you do this. But in late April of last year, I did a stupid thing. I'm going to say it's stupid. It worked out great for me, but this was probably the riskiest thing that you could do. Is I took out a loan against my 401k, borrowed about, and A small amount of money. Let's say that a small amount of money. But I didn't max out my entire, loan amount on my 401k. But first thing I did was put every single dollar of that into Chainlink. Now, Chainlink's kind of my god coin. I love it. I will never stop talking about it. It's the greatest cryptocurrency. It's the one that got me back into cryptocurrency. So I'm going to always have a special place in my heart for it. But that one did extremely well, extremely quickly after I got into it. So always going to have a special place in my heart. Started moving profits around, started dollar cost averaging into various other types of cryptocurrency, namely Ethereum and Bitcoin. And then DeFi summer happened. So I was seeing money crawl out of the wazoo. The amount of money that I made off of my 401k quickly ballooned. So I was sitting at like 10 times what I had in my 401k. And I was like, should I start being more responsible? Yeah, maybe, but let me just ape into a whole bunch of other things. And, what happened after DeFi summer, guys? We had September. We had the September crash. And, as you learn, you grow, you adapt your strategy. So I started keeping really detailed spreadsheets of every single transaction. How much money am I spending in Ethereum gas fees? What is my potential? Start setting price points, develop a plan. Stick to the plan, then trade your plan. These are all things that I kind of developed over time, and it's been working out so much better than my initial, all right, let's throw money into everything. It's all going to pop. I'm going to be so rich at the end of this thing.
Yeah. Oh, this is so important. Because this is probably why people are turning into the video. I would ask you to say that again. The difference between just YOLOing into everything, which might work in insane moments like the DeFi summer that happened, and the difference to what you're doing now. What exactly are you doing now? That is.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that. I have made a plan. And I have stuck to the plan. I've been trading my plan. So this is all things that you need to get into. This is not financial advice, but just kind of a snapshot into my mind. You need to have a plan. And I'm going to go ahead and grab the screen share. If you want to pull up my screen, real quick.
Let's check it out. You might want to...
reshare.
No, I still got you, but you have an interesting copyrighted song up there that I may not want to show to the public.
Okay, let me get rid of that. How about now?
There we go.
We go. Okay, cool. Is it showing, guys?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So part of making a plan is kind of deciding, or I guess let's say this, it's determining what your expenses are and creating a budget for it. So that way you know exactly how much money you have free to put into whatever else you have and whatever else you want to be investing in. Cryptocurrency is my investment, but these are the things that you should start looking at and basing your plan off of. Budget, reduce expenses, set realistic goals. Building an emergency fund is always crucial. If you are still employed and they have an employee match for a 401k or a retirement fund plan, definitely want to max out the employee match. All these other things that you can take a look at. I will go ahead and pop that link in the chat real quick for you guys if you want to take a look, just to help develop your own plans. But you need a budget, guys. Figure out what your expenses are, and if you can actually afford to be investing into these things that you want to invest into. Don't take gambles with money that you can't afford to lose. That's number one rule of investing. Don't spend what you can't afford to lose. And if you are being responsible with it, then you're going to make some profits and you're going to be able to comfortably move those profits around into other investments that are going to make you more money. Thoughts on that so far? Everyone keep...
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, no, honestly, I'm just looking at it being like, well, these are things that I partially do, but really should really take a more excited look at it, right? Because I think coming sort of from our generation, you're really sort of programmed to think that a lot of this stuff is boring and stupid, and this isn't how you make money. You have to just be a baller and just beast it.
Yeah, the best way to make money is just to make more money, guys.
Yeah, exactly. And it's sort of like the phase you were in before, where it's just like, well, I mean, I'm getting all these 10x's left and right. Like, what's the point of a budget? It's just gonna keep flowing in like this, like nonstop. But it turns out that everybody that I know that is truly having success, they are thinking about their trading like a business, by extension, thinking about their life like a business. And that turns out to be really good advice, because I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but there is just a lot of information and signals in the world to get you to make stupid decisions, be it, coming from Mark Cuban or just your favorite TV show or something. There's just a lot of stuff, because that's just basic marketing. They want you to not think about this stuff. They want you to just buy random stuff, because that's how they earn money, these other businesses. But it turns out if you want to actually enter the game and try to fight for some ground financially, you have to also think of yourself as a business. And this seems like a very just great entry point into shifting that mindset in that direction.
Exactly. And then shout out to David in the chat. Split your winnings, put some stables into DeFi interest, and forget about them. That's also a great tip. And it's one of the things that I'm personally doing as well to, put my money to work. The power of DeFi it's kind of indescribable to people that don't already have some knowledge of DeFi and blockchain and what cryptocurrency can do for you. All these ridiculous yields, these unheard of yields in the traditional financial world. They're not possible there, but they're 100% possible, and they can get pretty insane in cryptocurrency. So very good point, David. Thank you for adding that.
Right. But just again, like it's all in this mindset and getting away from the triggering aspect of all of this stuff. Because right, if most of us are sort of regular people, they're used to looking at wild incentives and trying to make a quick buck. And so you get into to DeFi a little bit, and you see, oh, well, I can go down to these sketchy farms and be earning 100%, 1000% APYs. Well, I'm obviously just going to do that. But it turns out, yet again, the more pragmatic way of going with stable coins and earning something like a 12% interest rate on those stable coins is actually the much smarter move, the much more reliable, stable, you might say, way of going about this. And those sort of slow moves end up actually paying you a lot more over time if you can have the patience for it. I think that's something I struggle with personally, is getting out of this ADD mindset that I inherited from my sort of previous pre-crypto life. And I'm sure I'm not alone out there. So.
Yeah, and I will say, and I preach this pretty much every day, but never underestimate the power of good research. There are so many opportunities, so many new protocols, so many more unheard of opportunities, and uncharacteristic. What's the word I'm looking for? Unusual. Unusual, maybe. I'm thinking like these outside the box opportunities that you don't think of, like volunteering to help out a Telegram channel grow their community and moderate their chat, which could lead into some kind of tokenized payment reward later on if you really help their community grow. Like, all these opportunities are out there, and if you're not doing all these things, looking at other opportunities and just kind of leveraging your experience and your knowledge that you've gained over the course of these journeys and these forays into crypto, then you're not taking advantage of everything that you can be doing to put you on your own path to financial freedom, because these things do pay off. I promise you.
No, exactly. I guess sort of like non-directly financial involvement tactics. I mean, that was me going from being a total lurker, just looking around, watching random YouTube videos, getting dumped on, to finally having the courage to write in some of these telegrams, and then to go even further down that path. And right here we all are. You sort of having started this channel and it's hard to understate the gains that we've all sort of gotten from starting this channel and working together. And I never would have pictured that. That is a directly like sort of non-financial thing. The other point I did want to make, because this is a collective, we're always gaining info from everybody. Something that came up a lot recently in the Telegram chat, which you should join, by the way. If you're not in the Telegram, like, what? Tax season is coming up, and it is actually pretty sticky for crypto, depending on which country you're living in. It's a very, very complicated market that we're dealing with here, and most countries don't really understand how to deal with it, what to do with it, and depending on your country, it is it could be very expensive for you, basically. So in going along with this whole budgeting aspect, you really should, I know it's probably boring, but look into your country's sort of tax system, how they deal with crypto, and you should really be putting aside some money in your budget to be paying off said tax, because it could be a lot more than you think. And depending on the country, you actually will be paying tax on those gas fees and on every single transaction that you're making, even though it's hidden deep in the MetaMask DeFi degen land. And so, yeah, that's just an encouragement yet again from the Adept community. I do not take credit for this recommendation, but that's just yet another thing that I've been picking up on the chat. Luckily, in this country where I'm at, we don't have to pay taxes on crypto trades under 600 euros. So I am super grateful for that, because that cancels out a lot of the gas transactions. But in a lot of countries, that is not the case. So you really do need to be not just wildly DJ and jenning all over the place. You need to be tracking all of those trades and putting a little money aside for that, so you don't get wrecked down the line. I think that's what being a business is all about: planning for the future and planning for all contingencies, even boring stuff.
Yeah, and to that point, I just want to start talking a little bit more about being responsible with the gains that you've made as we go along this crypto journey. All right, cool. So here is well, I'm gonna got to pull it out of its little nook and cranny here. All right, so show of hands here in the chat, guys. Just do whatever, raise your dongers, click like, whatever. How many of you guys have one of these?
Ooh.
If you are not paying attention, or you're not looking at the screen, or it's impossible to see, this is a Ledger Nano X. Hey, there we go. Throw them up there, guys. Hardware wallets, guys.
It took me way too long to set this up, and as soon as I did, I was like, what was I thinking?
Right?
I could have gotten so wrecked. It's wild out there, guys. You do not know what the capabilities of the next cutting edge sort of crypto hackers have. If you're not protecting your crypto, you're just begging for it. Because we also have heard some very distressing stories about people falling for scams and losing tons of money. It's actually not that hard, but it cannot be said enough. I mean, even with the Ledger, never, ever, ever give anybody your private keys. Never, ever, ever, ever.
Never. Never, ever.
I feel like I got to keep going with that, because it is so important that only you have your private keys. Nobody else. Nobody. That's the whole point of crypto, is that you become your own bank, which means you take on the full responsibility of managing your money. The full responsibility.
Yep. But here's what I would advise. Guess how many of these I have? I have a lot. It's a number between 3 and 6.
Okay.
It's 6. I have a lot of these. But I have these dedicated to different things. I have one account that is dedicated strictly to yield farming opportunities and staking. I have one of these which is basically it's my put away for a rainy day fund. I have one that I've set up to transact with a particular kind of protocol. I have a lot of these. They're all dedicated to different things, but two of them really are for very, very specific purposes. One is saving for retirement. It's a fund that I'm going to never touch until I need to. And I have one that is set up specifically to hold my tax payments. So that's my fund. If I need to cash out to pay taxes, putting it on a hardware wallet adds another layer of difficulty. So I can't say, oh, well, man, I really want to ape into this new project. Let me just throw some money into it. No, this is my ledger for taxes only. Taxes only. And it is all in stable coins. This is
Very
just
nice.
a personal investment plan, or I guess a cash out plan. But recently, I think since probably around January, I've been cashing out basically everything into stable coins for two reasons. One, you never know when this thing is going to end, and it does not hurt to have some stable value in what your profits are. And two, I love yield farming with a passion. It's probably the easiest thing in the world you can do to make money on your assets. And stablecoins are by far the most popular cryptocurrency that you can use to farm yield. So stable value, yield farming, those two things never go away. And it's always easier to cash out stablecoins than it is Bitcoin or Ethereum. But that's my personal thing.
No, of course. If just for those that aren't on the Ledger trip quite yet, obviously you can use a different hardware wallet. But when you are trading with MetaMask, it isn't just the click swap thing. You actually have to go on your ledger and click through about 7 different menus to approve that transaction. So you have a lot of time to think, should I really be doing this right now? Which is another sort of good way to protect yourself from making really dumb moves. It's maybe not the best way if you're trying to make beat the bots or make some really quick swaps, but I think it is also it's a very good deterrent to be trading away your retirement fund in sort of a quick moment. I'm curious exactly, not that we're going to endorse it anybody, but how you are doing your yield farming on your stable coins.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
So I have some in Celsius. I have some on Voyager. I have the majority of my stable coins farming in Alpha Hemora right now, version 2. Got some pretty decent yields right now. So USDT, USDC, and DAI, they're kind of variable, but they're all offering currently around 28% APY. So it's not like your crazy 200, 2000% APYs that you get with some degen projects, but it hasn't gone under like 15% for more than like a day at a time. So I'm thinking this is pretty, what's the word? I don't want to say juicy. It's not a steak, but it's very enticing.
Well, and it's important to just keep things in context, right? That may not sound like a lot to sort of a degen Chad, yield master, but compared to any sort of traditional banking, right? You're only on a regular savings account in America, you're only expecting to get 1 to 3%, maybe 4%. And even if you're investing in like real estate or other assets, you're only hoping to get 5 to maybe 10%. We're talking about returns on your investment that are unavailable anywhere else. And this is the safe mode version, which is just, that's just another thing that just get me so excited about crypto. And everybody's sort of like, how is that possible? It's a scam. But the point is that the entire financial system has been a scam since day one. You're just on sort of the wrong side of it. And that's what I think everybody's having a hard time wrapping their mind around. When you cut out all the middlemen, when you stop giving fees to, multi-billion-dollar companies, then what's left is just you and your money and the code. And that's what allows you to get these returns. And that's why I'm on here sort of preaching this gospel, because it's for all of us, guys. Like, if we all take this in our hands and join the club, then we don't need the masters anymore. We can just sort of support ourselves really just on a small amount of capital. So anyways.
Yes. Governments are like, cryptocurrency can't be allowed to succeed, because if it does, then it proves that nobody needs a bank.
Yeah, it's the grand movement towards decentralization, and I'm really sort of glad to be a part of it, honestly.
Yeah, it's an important one for sure. I think we're starting to run kind of long here. Guys that are still watching, thank you for staying with us. Do you have any questions before I wrap up with final thoughts? we give the time lag a little bit of time to get there, so y'all can think of some questions.
Yeah, but definitely. I mean, I'm gonna save it, but definitely scroll up if you didn't catch it, and take a look at the image, the sort of a flow chart that Bender put together. Is it in there? It's in the chat, right?
Yeah, it's the Imgur link.
Okay, nice. Yeah, because it's definitely worth studying, and just going a little more in depth here, because it really is. It all comes down to mindset, right? The mindset is what's driving the trades that you've made to get to this point, but not just the trades, the actual sort of strategy and what you do after you get those sick gains. You got to have both. You got to have sick gains and a plan. Otherwise, it all just flows back into water, back
Right,
into the
and
degen space.
another important point you just gotta realize is it's not how much you make, because we're in a bull run. Everyone's gonna be making ridiculous gains here and there. It's about how much money you can keep after the bull run is over, which means that you are going to need to cash out at some point, because you don't want a personal repeat of 2017 where you see everything go up and then all your gains, all your profits evaporate back down into nothing. You want to make sure you take away these life-changing gains that you've made throughout the course of the bull run. So it looks like we have no questions in the chat, so I'm going to finish up with some final thoughts. But before I do, Marshall, did you want to say anything?
I honestly, this has been fantastic. I know it's not our typical video just about the next level gem, but yeah, honestly, it's been a little inspiring just to get a little deeper into your mind. I know we talk a bunch about this in the chat and everything else, but yeah, Sean's asking for a PDF. Maybe we'll post that in the Telegram or the Discord, because if you are catching this stream. The stream really is just the beginning. This is sort of the little taste of what Adapt actually is. You really got to join the community, like we've been saying. It isn't just about being a lone wolf trader, I think, honestly, and that's really sort of the fun part, is to be part of the community. It's not just because we want your likes and your metrics. It's because it will actually help you and all of us, because that is. It's all the same story. Decentralization. That means we all get to be businesses together and not compete. Actually cooperate. The decentralized future, I think, is going to be a lot more cooperative than the adversarial previous economic system, which I am excited for. That being said, smash that like, guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and Candy, for sure, I'll post something in the Adapt Telegram later on. I'm going to have to clean it up a little bit, because you do not want to see my ADD brain on Excel spreadsheets. So it's going to need some cleaning and some chopping up to do. But I'll post a nice clean version in there probably tomorrow. It's getting late for me here. But just some final thoughts for you guys. Make sure you have a goal, set a budget, figure out how much money you're spending, how much money you want to earn. Because if you don't set a goal for that end target, like at the end of the day, you don't know what to aim for. You don't know how much risk you should be taking on, or how little risk you should be taking on. If you're already halfway towards your goal, you don't need to be taking stupid risks to get more money. You're basically already there. And then at the end of the day, just make sure that you have the plan and that you follow through on that plan. Because if you don't, you're going to regret it immensely. And you had this ridiculous thing. Financial freedom is a great goal, but if you don't know what number is going to get you financial freedom, you're always going to be chasing those green candles. So set the plan, set the budget, figure out your expenses, mark the plan your trades, trade your plan, and then don't forget to cash out at some point. I will personally, at the end of the bull run, be leaving at least 25% of all my crypto holdings as cryptocurrency, because I believe in the long-term efficacy and mainstream adoption of cryptocurrency, which means I don't want to have to start back over from scratch at the start of the next bull run. So 25% of all my crypto holdings are staying crypto, but 75% of those cryptos, that's cashing out. I'm going to live it up for a little bit, but for the most part, I'll be living frugally. And at the end of the bull run, I have some things that I want to do to personally develop myself and my skills. The end goal for me has always been to make enough money to, one, buy a house, and two, take off enough time. I set aside 2 years to learn how to program and smart contracts, essentially blockchain programming, because I want to do this full time. I want to be full time crypto as a career, and that's my goal. And I'm not going to say how far I am along that goal, at least not on the programming side, because I'm way far behind on there. But making enough money to get me to that goal, I am way further along that goal than I ever thought I would be at this point. And you all can do that too. I promise you. You are not trying to make a living, guys. You are building a life here. And crypto, I think, is 100% the best way to do it.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Bender. I'm very excited about the future, honestly. And wherever you are on your journey here, if you're just starting out, if you have got completely wrecked and made some really dumb choices, I think we've all been there. And it's never too late to sort of dust yourself off, rethink your strategy, get a little bit more sober, and just figure this all out. Yeah. I'm looking up at a Post-it note above my computer that says "Don't FOMO" because I have FOMO. I've done it.
Hey, there you go. Sometimes you need those little visual reminders.
But whatever your strategy is, we wish you the best. Like we were saying, we're all in this together. And if you make sick gains, congratulations. Just sounds like you got to have a plan to retain said sick gains. So, yeah, I guess with that, I guess we'll head out of here. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, it's been a long time, guys.
Get back to strategizing. We really appreciate your time, your attention, and everything about all of that. And if you want to keep hanging out with us, we're gonna get in the Discord or whatever, the Telegram.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, by the way, guys, sorry for missing the scheduled stream that was supposed to be yesterday. I went a little too merry in my celebrations of financial freedom yesterday. So thanks for sticking with it, tuning in for tonight's episode. I kind of missed you in the live streams. We'll stick to the weekly ones.
Yeah.
But until next time, guys.
Till next time. What is there no?
Are we still live?
Oh, there's just.
Awkward.